PJNet Live on Tuesday night, streaming on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We have two guests in our green room. The chat room is waiting for them. We are recording, and we have all of our cameras aimed and in focus. So, we will switch to Studio 6 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, it's a great night. Welcome here on PJNet Live. Good to see everybody in the chat room. It's always encouraging to see those of you who fellowship together there and some of the crazy comments we get and also the questions that we get for our live guest. And tonight we have two, not one but two, live guests, and they are, well, they're a team, but they are adorable. And please welcome to the Eagle's Nest, our two guests for tonight. Over here is Sherry Lynn. Now, it's kind of spelled Cherry Lynn, okay? And I had to get this correct because I've been kind of going both ways on it. It's not Cherry the fruit; it's Sherry the wine made from the fruit. Sherry Lynn, right? Is that it, Sherry? Sherry Lynn?
Absolutely.
And over here from the Georgia Peach. Am I correct, Joyce? Are you from Georgia?
I am from Georgia.
Joyce Glass, and together they are known throughout the world as the Wright Coach. Now, Wright is spelled W-R-I-T-E. So, Sherry Lynn, because I've known you a little longer, I'll direct my first, well, I hate to say question. It's not really a question, but this is not your first rodeo in coaching writers, correct?
No, it's not. I started coaching writers probably about 3 years ago. It kind of happened naturally. I was working with Kyle Young actually as on a writing website. I started doing submissions reading for him and then a junior literary agent. And I just started coaching. It just came naturally. One of my first people I talked to and encouraged was Del Didway. And you're going to have him on here at 9:30. He's just a remarkable guy. But I love coaching writers to get the story from their head to paper.
You know, Sherry Lynn, I'm a coach. And one of the things that coaches have to do is make some judgments, picking talent. You know what I'm saying? You've got to see something. What are the things when you see somebody come onto the scene who's never written anything other than maybe a blog? What are you looking for?
I'm looking for somebody who will do the work. Writing is applying tools and sharpening your tools. Writing is reading as much as you can. It's getting at the paper, on the paper or at the typewriter, and throwing up. Writing is good editing as well. And I was a horrible writer, Mark. I was horrible, and you can ask many people, but I read, I went to workshops, I got critiques. As hard as they were, I became a much better writer because I listened to what my coach said and I did the work. That's what we look for.
Yeah, coachability means a lot. Joyce, you are sitting over there like a flower on the wall, although an attractive one. So, Joyce, you look young enough to be Sherry Lynn's daughter, perhaps even one more generation removed. Everybody how on earth did this...
We're not far in age, by the way, just saying.
I don't believe that. In any event, you saw something in Sherry Lynn that caused the two of you to kind of draw together. What's your contribution to this tandem?
She brought to me a missing part that I'm not excellent at, and that's what when you are a leader, you find people who are strong in things that you're weak in. And she's really good with book proposals. I'm not. And I love that, but we're also both very strong with editing. So we can go back and forth with editing and helping our clients that way. And they're getting the best of both worlds then. So, and then there's also the fact that, Sherry Lynn is very easy to work with. She talked about people being coachable. She and I don't think anything that we haven't really like seen eye to eye on. We haven't like, it's never been a blow up. It's just like, I think it should be done this way. And she's like, okay. Or, or she said, or I'll say, well, let's do it this way. And she's like, okay. So, it just goes back and forth. There hasn't been, any major disagreements thus far. Not that there never will be, because we're human, but the fact that we can get along good, 98% of the time is a good thing, So when you're working as a team, you work closely, and so you want to make sure you can do that. But yeah, she just has a lot of gifts to bring, and the fact that, like we were talking beforehand, we're both connectors. We love connecting with people and helping people connect with other people. So, if somebody's strong suit is something that we're not strong in, and this person needs that kind of help, we'll say, hey, you need to go check out this person. This is what they can help you with. And so that's one of the things that I appreciate and love about her too, is that she's a strong connector, and she's been, connecting me and helping me connect with people for my podcast, as well as connecting with you and other people so that we can be on their shows. So.
Well, you mentioned your podcast. I went to your website, which is therightcoach.biz. That's
correct.
Right, WRITE, coach.biz. And I noticed, I didn't invest the time to go through them, but there was podcast after podcast. Was that your work?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are on season 8. We're in the middle of season 8 right now. 802 releases on Thursday. So I do 6 podcasts in a season. I like it that way. Then I take a little break, and then we do another season. So,
well, a season being what?
Being that it's just segmented. There's 6 episodes in a season. It's just a way to break it apart.
You've had some pretty interesting. What's some of the more notable guests that you've had on your podcast?
One of my favorites is I met him in another group. Oh shoot, I can't think of his last name. Is Mark. He started off as a chimney sweep and had his own business, and now he's a multi-millionaire running people to show them how to. It's called Blue Collar Gold, is a book he wrote, and he teaches other blue collar service people how to expand and grow their business. He said he realized at one point he didn't have a job, he didn't have a business, and he realized how to grow his business after some, kicks in the gut. He figured it out, and his story is fascinating, because that just goes to prove that you may think that your talents aren't that much or that gifted for anything, but if you continue to learn, you can help other people along the way to do something that they never thought they could do.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sherry Lynn, I'm going to kind of try to bounce back and forth, because I'm not the most hospitality is not one of my gifts. You know what I mean? I tend to drill down and focus. I don't want to ignore the other. Sherry Lynn, you've been in the business some time, and literary work is something that you do. Where do you see the book publishing industry going? What is hot? What is not? What's changing? What's staying the same?
Well, I have to say I'm not in the book publishing industry per se, but I can say that self-publishing is getting more popular. Hybrid publishing is getting very popular. Self-publishing is self-explanatory. Hybrid publishing is hiring somebody to do a lot of the work for you and maybe help you do some social media, and you have the book already written. You pay them up to $5,000-$10,000. I want to say I don't know that much about the trends. You might ask Dell on your next program, because he hangs out with Kyle, and Kyle has his finger on the heartbeat of what's going on. So I don't want to answer a question that I'm not really quite up on. But I do want to say something. May I say something about Joyce? Joyce is teaching me so much. She's been in the business longer than I have, much longer than I have. And she's teaching me a lot about the administrative part of the business. So if anybody needs help with that aspect, Joyce is your girl. If you need a program for anything as a writer, Joyce is your girl. She's got me learning all these programs, and my head is spinning. But I just want to say that as far as talent goes, Joyce has been doing this much longer than I have, and I'm honored to be working with her.
All right, well, let's talk about book proposals then. Is that mostly what you deal in?
Me personally, yes, book proposals.
Okay, well, let me rephrase the question then, if you don't mind. What is the common mistake when someone comes to you? What is the most common mistake that people make in their book proposal?
The most common mistake is not following the submission guidelines.
You're not the first person to say that.
Yes, not following the submission guidelines and not having your 3 chapters edited. I did a survey last year at Blue Ridge Mountain Christian Writers Conference and the year before. And I asked both publishers and agents what they look for in a book proposal. The top 3 were the writing itself, the author, and the marketing. And unfortunately, nowadays, if you want to go with a traditional publisher, you have to be able to sell like 8,000 books out of the gate. They want you to prove that you can sell that many. And it's difficult for most writers, but the mistake that I see them making, Mark, is that they give up before they even try. Because if they work with somebody who can help them pick apart their social media, who can help them. What I like to do with my clients is ask them where they went to college, where they went to high school, where they work, because each of these places has either a newsletter or something like that, an alumni letter that goes out to tens of thousands of people. So one mistake is giving up, thinking they don't have a platform when they really do.
Yeah.
By the way, from the chat room, Becky Lindsay says the following, and I quote, pretty much. Lynn is a great coach. Now, we met at the Blue Ridge Mountain Christian Writers Conference 5 years ago. She encouraged me to practice my pitch to agents and publishers with her. I didn't want to, but she said it was better to run through it with her. She was right, and right, W-R-I-T-E, I suppose, smiley face emoji.
I love Becky. Becky is such, she's beautiful inside and out. And I was so excited to just offer that to her. I as a Christian and as a writer, I believe God has catapulted me into this genre, this job to help writers. And when I go to conferences, I just love to hear people's pitches. I love to help them tweak them because I sat on the other side of the chair listening to tons of pitches. So, and I know what agents and publishers are looking for. And her book series is phenomenal. I mean, if somebody, do you know what her series is called, Mark?
No.
You need to get Becky Lindsay on here talking about her books.
Well, Becky, let me tell you about Joyce. We're not ignoring you. I'm still getting used to having 2 people. Okay,
series.
Joyce,
it's really good.
Well,
really good.
By the way, also in the chat room, there is a link to Mark Stoner's Blue Collar Gold in the chat room at patriotjournalist.com, which directs my attention, back to Joyce. Joyce, some things are changing, and you're about the 2 of you are going to make some kind of announcement. But you see change in the future. You're making adjustments. You see the landscape changing. Cast a vision how things are going to look in your industry with your constituents in your work over the next 5 years.
I think people are starting to understand, and some of them already do understand, the importance of getting professional help. There's a lot of people that have powerful stories, but they don't
Right.
know how to put them into a powerful story. And they don't know how to write that and craft that story. And it is a craft that you have to learn. You know, I was working with a client today, and part of one of her chapters, I'm like, this is a series of facts. It's not a story. And you need to craft it into a story. And that's the things that, you know, newbies just don't know because they don't know what they don't know, you know, and like all of us. And God has gifted me with the gift of being able to discern things and catch on to things. And I mean, I've been in this business for 9 years, writing myself. And then I started coaching 4 years ago. And part of the reason I started coaching is that I do have a love for teaching, and I love to help people make their stories even better. And I haven't had one client yet to tell me, you know what, your help didn't really help me. You know, they're all like, thank you so much. I couldn't have done this, you know? and so in, you know, the first time you're like, okay, that's okay. And the next time you're like, oh, that's pretty good. But, you know, after about the 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th time, you're like, okay, I do know what I'm doing now. You know, it's just, it continues to build that confidence in myself. I feel like I know what I'm doing, but sometimes, you know, you doubt yourself and your abilities, and you're like, well, am I really doing the best that I can? You know, but then when you see it, or you pick something up that's written horribly, and you're like, well, dang, they should have had me help them edit that. That's horrible. And that's the bad thing about being an editor now. Shirley, Lynn, I think we've talked about this. I can't hardly read some books because I'm editing as I read them. Like, I wouldn't have done that. You know,
pure junk.
But
all right,
and we're always learning, which is a good thing. We're always learning. As writers, Joyce is always learning. I'm always learning, and I know other writers are always learning. And one thing that I've really love about working with Joyce is the tools that she uses. I mean, we work with a lot of nonfiction writers, Mark, but they need to know how to use fiction techniques, right, Joyce?
Yes. That's why I created a course this summer. It's a little mini course called 5 Fiction Techniques Every Nonfiction Writer Needs to Use. And if anybody wants to look at that, it's therightcoach.biz/5 spelled out, and F-I-V-E. You can learn more about FIVE. Okay. But yeah, that is the key for nonfiction writing to make it powerful, is to use the fiction techniques in it.
Okay, ladies, what I'm going to do, I do not know what your announcement is. I do not know who is going to make it, but I do know that we have 2 minutes. So I'm going to kind of sit back.
Mark, you already kind of made it for us. So Joyce, I'll let you make it, Joyce.
Okay. Well, the big announcement is, because we haven't really officially announced it, we've been splashing things here and there, is that we're a team now. And not everybody knows that we're a team now. And it's been a lot of fun, and we've been, you know, doing a lot of things behind the scenes, and we still have a lot more work to do. But we've been having fun getting it all together and getting it going, and figuring out how we can help people together. So that's been
the Right Coach team.
Yep.
I love it. The Right Coach team. So now we have an office in Georgia.
There you go. And I've got one in Rhode Island that I haven't been to yet.
Good.
Well, ladies,
Mark, I want to thank you for having us. Thank you for having us, Mark.
Well, Sherilyn, thank you for sharing, and Joyce, thank you as well. I wish that, you know, I could just kind of hang in here a little bit longer, but Del Didway is coming, and I have got a mountain of stuff to change over, retool, and all that. But folks, if you'd like to know more about this incredible Right Coach team, the Right Coach, WRITE.biz is how you would connect with them. Of course, you can find them on Facebook and Twitter as well, and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to have to kind of move ahead and move forward. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us here. It's been a real pleasure, and we wish you the best and hope to see you again sometime.
All right. Thank you, Mark. It's been great. We appreciate it.
Good. All right, folks. It is sure busy as crazy, crazy busy around here right now. And PJNet Live will be back with Del Didway in about less than 10 minutes. And thank you for those of you who have joined us in the PatriotJournalist.com chat room. You always make it interesting. And I'll leave you with 2 questions and a challenge. Question number 1 is, what is the boldest thing you've ever done for Christ? Question number 2, when was that? And the challenge is this: never be satisfied with either answer.